yeah, let's do warrior. Okay, let's try warrior. They should have gotten a little bit of bump from the buckets. Oh man, so town crier first is too hard to take, but I like him later. But we got to start with the chain gang, right? Though the games have been going later and later, maybe the Royal Guard is good enough now to take first. So what they did, Wicked Fingers, is over the past year they've made a lot of micro changes to Arena. Most recently, they first started by just deciding that the rarity was how the card should be split up, and that wasn't good enough because they make a lot of crummy epics, for example. So then they decided that they should just make micro balances on each card. So they would say, you know what, Consecrate's really good, that should come up less often. And then they split them up into buckets, saying this tier of cards should all be together. So when you're seeing these three cards, these are in the same bucket. But there used to only be three buckets. And so what they had was they had insane cards up here that they just removed, right? They took out Vicious Fledgling, DKs, those are just out of the arena. Then, on top of all the buckets, are the legendaries like Lich King and those ones that are so good that they're not even in their own bucket. They're just a single chance of getting it. Just if you're really lucky, you're going to get it. It doesn't even contain a bucket because it's not in the mix. It's just like a 1 in, I don't even know what the chance is, 1 in 200 chance that it happens. And then there's the first bucket, which is the really good cards, the ones that for each class, is going to be like the Vine Cleaver, the Steed, that kind of stuff for Paladin. For Warrior, it's going to be like the Gore Howl. And then there was a third tier, a second tier, and third tier that was in that order. And then there was a bottom one where the cards were just so bad that they weren't even in the draft. And I don't even have a list of those cards because they're in there still. I think it's more like the legendaries where they're still in there, they're just not in a bucket. So they decided that the three buckets had too much disparity in them, right? The lowest card in the best tier was significantly worse than the best card. So when you saw them together, the choice was obvious. So they created more buckets. I think we're up to 5. And so that when you see the random buckets, you're going to see more cards that are equal. But what that also did was it decreased the chances of getting the best cards up here, like Flame Strike, Lich Kings, the ones that aren't in a bucket, and also decreased the chance of getting the worst ones because they didn't increase the chance of getting those, they just increased the chance of getting the buckets. Yeah, the problem is that they need to change it to being rarity based, but they need to change how they do rarity because the way they do rarity is only to sell cards. That's all that they did. Because the legendary is the only thing that affects gameplay. So right now they've got a poor system, I think, which is what I would change if they hired me for game director. But yeah, let's start with the chain gang. I think we need the weapon. Hydra's just not, we just don't have enough support for it. Let's get a weapon. We're playing warrior. We need weapons. Oh, we need to pay attention a little bit to the buckets here too, right? We gotta learn the new buckets. We've only seen mage so far. I think we need a 2-drop. We definitely cannot end up with a bunch of... Okay, so we already saw a Reaper, and that Reaper was with the Hydra, and I think Execute, at least one Execute is way better than all of those. Oh, 2 Executes, but I can't pass up the Stonehill Defender. We will take the Stonehill Defender pretty much every time. So if we're looking at the bucket strength, I think that since the Execute and Reaper and Stonehill Defender were in that bucket, that's got to be a really good one, right? Oh, they did 13 buckets? Wow, they went really crazy. Is that too many buckets? Because if there's 18 buckets, then you're only seeing at most, I mean, they have to have some value of those buckets, but then the way they split them up, I mean, they kind of have to because of how unvaluable some of the cards are, right? Okay, we don't need a Molten Blade, I don't think. It's just too low a chance that it's crummy. Actually, it's really good in this set, right? It could be a Reaper, a Gorehowl, a Fiery War Axe, the Whirlwind Weapon. The worst one is the one that's based on your armor and can only attack minions. But everything else is pretty good. Maybe Molten Blade, maybe I'm not giving Molten Blade credit. But I think we need the shield. I think overall this is better because it can give you the 5/2 weapon, can deal 5 damage directly, which is probably the best one. And 15 armor for 6 mana is nothing to shake a stick at either. Yeah, if there's 18 buckets, then that's we're gonna have to take a lot of mental notes. So what's our deck look like so far? You know what? I think we take the shield. Okay, so we can't have too many spells. We can't get ourselves in trouble by having too many spells to work out here. But I think we can take one more because shield blocks a card draw and works with a lot of other great warrior resources. We have to have at least one Warpath. I think it's worth taking over those guys just to make sure that we have one. So the unidentified shield is actually in kind of a crummy bucket, right? Because these are not... This guy's pretty terrible. So hopefully... And the Dire Horn's fine. I think I would rather have... Oh, a legendary. Here we go. Let's do this. Okay, so the Yip... If this guy was 6 mana, I would take him. I would take this guy for 6 mana, even if he was a 4/6, to work with him. I don't think we can rely on him for 8 mana, especially next to these guys. This is actually a really good one. I think we take the so 5 for a 5/5 is just a solid. Let's say we don't get the pack out of this. I think she's still better. I mean, what's our mana look like at this exact moment? Yeah, I'm liking this warrior deck too. We can't take the Yip. Love the Yip, but we just can't over these two. And then I think we take the Elise just to hit 5. I mean, we'll probably hit another 5-drop though, right? Like maybe a Scalebane. That's a tough choice. So her ceiling is astronomical, right? If we hit the pack, and depending on the time of the game, we might hit the pack pretty easily. But if we hit the pack, then she's way better than he is. It is possible to get crap in the pack. There's no doubt about that. I'm gonna, you know what? Bloodhoof might be rated higher, but I'm gonna take the Elise and hope that we just get the pack one time. Let's go for a pack. I'm really excited about going for a pack, and we need some card draw if we're going for the pack. So let's be kind of greedy now, playing around the pack. Okay. A 2-drop. What's the better 2-drop for us? We already have a 2/3. We already have a lot of taunt. Let's go for a 3/2. That's a good one. What do we have for 3-drops? Just Stonehill Defender so far? Okay, let's take the Enchanter. So we're going for a control warrior deck. We've got Elise. We've got Tarlord. So let's take a second Execute here. And then do we want the Valkyr then? Or is that going too silly? I don't think we want the Crazed Alchemist. I mean, it has some value. You can get really crazy stuff going with the Crazed Alchemist. I think we have to take the Frozen Crusher though. I think we've got enough to back it up. Another Chain Gang? We don't have any rush yet. But having a 2-drop weapon is really good too. But we've seen this bucket a couple times. This is probably a common bucket. We've seen, obviously, the Chain Gang. We saw the Golem separately from the Chain Gang. What's our mana curve look like? Oh, it's pretty weak down here. This is our only 4-drop? Let's have 2 of them. There we go. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's what I get for calling that a weak bucket, because this is this is a terrible bucket. I don't even think... I love Alarmobot trying to make it work, but a lot of our guys have Battle Cry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 of our 9 minions have Battle Cry. Well, you know what? We might get something out of the Unraveler. Let's do that. Oh, man. Another crummy bucket. We don't have a poison yet, but I hate that poison. Let's get the Sunclaimer going. We can get value out of that. There we go. Bone Drake. Here we go. There's some value. All right, Thresh it on. Now we're getting something going. Do I want a third Chain Gang or a first axe? I think I want the first axe. Just to get my early game going a little better. The Mystic also works. It's pretty tough though. Pretty tough to take the Mystic. I never feel right casting this. It's the same thing as the Spellgiver mage guy. You just never feel that great playing him. What do we have for 3-drops though? Yeah, maybe we need the Mystic. Another Chain Gang? Alright, well just why not? Let's have a bunch of Chain Gangs. Card draw. Okay, we gotta get to our pack. Ooh, that's a good one. I think we need the Gorehowl, right? Maybe we need the Basilisk. I definitely don't need the Spellstone. We've only got one weapon right now. So at best, that's 2 5/5s for 7 mana. We don't need that in our lives. We've got a lot going up here though. Do we need Gorehowl? I don't think so. I think we need the Basilisk to get to late game. Let's take the poison. So we've already got one Warpath. I think 2 is really good, but Death Speaker is way better. Let's get the Death Speaker. So we need the 5-drop. Which 5-drop do we want more? I think we want the Knight. The Valkyrie is really good if we've got some taunt going though. Yeah, the Valkyrie is super good following up our 4-drops, which are all Chain Gangs. All right, another card draw. So I was talking earlier about what the blade can become. I'm actually excited to get the blade going. Let's get the blade going here. Stonehill Defender's an easy one. Okay, last pick, and we're gonna take a purple for right or wrong. He's not here, I don't think, but he loves picking based on purples. If it's purple, it's better. Purple Nurple. I think the Drake is better for us than the Gorehowl. We've already got 2 weapons, one of which could become a Gorehowl. We've got a lot of taunt though. I wish we had the quest. This is a better quest deck than I can make in standard. We got 2 defenders and 3 Chain Gangs. You can't play 3 Chain Gangs in standard. Just saying. Just saying, chat. I think the Drake. Gorehowl is OP. We've got so much armor gain too, so we don't even mind. Drake has OP too, though. We don't have anything that's 8-drop. We could get a Drake, though. Oh, but we could get a Gorehowl too. We could end up with a 3rd weapon from the shield, which would make Gorehowl kind of weird. A lot of the time you take Drake because you need taunt, and we've got taunt up the wazoo. We've got taunt flying out of our wazoo. We've got more taunt than I don't even know. A German boxing team. What do we have that synergizes with dragons? There's no way of discovering something that works with dragons, right? So the defender can't possibly get the Wormcaller or the Beast. The Elise Trailblazer could give us Duskbreaker, right? There is possible that it gives us Duskbreaker. That was that set, I think. They're both 95 on the tier list, so we can't really go wrong. I'm actually going to go with the Drake. I feel good about the Drake. All right, so the one thing we're missing is a silence. Other than that, I think we're okay. The curve is misleading because a lot of our 2-drops are late game. We're not playing Blood Rage on turn 2. We're not playing Executes on turn 2. We're not playing Warpath on turn 2 unless we're in a super desperate situation like a Gibberer overrun. So it's really high here, but it's misleading. On turn 2, we actually probably only want to play either of those 2 drops, which are, it's at least good to have two drops, but that's misleading. And then 3 drops, at least 3 drops, we pretty much drop all of them. Same thing with our only 4 drops. Our only 4 drops are 3 chain gangs, but I think we're a pretty good warrior deck here. I'm actually excited to see where this goes. I haven't played warrior in a long time. Do you guys even remember the last time we got warrior?